7:30 NBC. All right. Let's talk some football, Dan.
Okay.
Ohio State -3 on the road at Notre Dame. These teams have only played 7 times. Can you believe that? 7 times in the history of college football. They've both been around
forever. But a couple of times relatively recently, right? They played in a Fiesta Bowl within the last few years. And then, of course, they have the Laura Quinn game. Also a Fiesta Bowl, perhaps? Ohio State, Notre Dame?
Played last year. Played last year.
And
it was kind of a close
last
game.
year, yes, in the home and home. Yeah. Hey, real quick, thanks for stopping by. Now would be a terrific time to subscribe to the Solid Verbal for college football videos all season long.
I have many thoughts on this game, as you might expect. I will let you go first. I'll let you lead it off, and I will fill in any of the gaps with my personal subjectivity. I can't look at this game objectively. I just can't. I already posted out on Twitter before we went live here what my pick was going to be. I started getting messages from Notre Dame fans who either agree or disagree. My phone has been blowing up here. I'm not that popular, but at least as popular as a lowly podcast host such as I am. I started getting messages about this. People obviously care about this game. Where do you stand here?
Okay, so fascinating matchup. Of course it is. It's Notre Dame, Ohio State, with both teams looking like top 10 teams this season, if not higher. So Notre Dame at home with what I think is a good defense. You've had some questions about the pass rush, I think, but their pressure rate is still extraordinarily high.
It is.
It's Kyle McCord's first true difficult road start. And he has at times looked a little bit shaky. Of course, we have at times see Ryan Day look a little bit shaky in these big moments, especially on the road. Although the last time we saw it, they were right there to beat last year's national champion. Different quarterback, different team, different offensive line, different everything. But there is still some information and data to be gleaned from some of that. I like the Notre Dame offensive line. I like how they've been able to run the ball. I like that they've been tested against NC State, against quality competition, and came out of that looking very, very good. In some weird weather, you have delays, but they stay locked in. Audric Estime comes out and has that big run after the delay, the hot dog fueled run, if you're to believe. Yeah,
definitely.
They have the more proven quarterback, although Kyle McCord might ultimately be judged to be a better quarterback by the end of his career at Ohio State, or certainly has better weapons as a quarterback at Ohio State. So if you give a bully ball advantage, it's going to be Notre Dame. If you're going to give an offensive skill advantage, it's going to be Ohio State. The Ohio State defense looks kind of undercover nasty right now in a good way.
It does. It really does.
They've got a ton of talent in the secondary. They've got experience at linebacker. The ends are very good. We saw what did JT Tuimoloau do against Penn State last year? He rises to the occasion. There's a lot to love about this Ohio State defense. The offense has looked a little bit wonky. I just don't know what to think of Kyle McCord and his confidence. You look at even the better throws that he had against Western Kentucky last week, and he just seemed a beat slower than CJ Stroud, which is not a fair comparison, obviously, given CJ Stroud's experience in the system by last season. But there is something a little bit hesitant to me about Kyle McCord. That worries me on the road against Notre Dame. So I'm going to go with the environment. I'm going to go with the defense. Wow. I'm going to go with the experience. I'm going to go with the bully ball option that Notre Dame has that I don't fully buy with Ohio State. And it's just a prove-it moment for Ohio State. This is obviously a game that could tip either direction. Ohio State has the talent advantage. Notre Dame has the advantages, I think, on the margins. So I'm going Notre Dame. If I can go with the more seasoned quarterback at home, joined by his own good defense, I think there's more barely to like about the Irish. I have Notre Dame winning. I have 24-21, I think is what I wrote down here.
Wow.
Yeah, 24-21.
This is a momentous day for a couple reasons, right? So as you were saying this, I was thinking back to this conversation I had with Mama H, of course, 6:42 a.m. Monday morning, talking about this game. And usually when we talk about Notre Dame playing Ohio State, the first thought has been, I hope they don't get killed.
Yep.
This year, I feel like that mindset has totally changed. And I don't know if it's from Sam Hartman. I don't know if it's because it feels like there's more depth, or we like Marcus Freeman more than Brian Cat. I don't know what it is. I suspect it's got more to do with Hartman than anything else. They've also looked really good, but Now it's like, instead of wondering are they going to get killed, I'm starting to think, well, all right, what are the ways that they could win? What are the pathways that Notre Dame could win this game? Because coming into it, obviously the odds makers feel similarly. It figures to be a relatively close game. The effect of adding Sam Hartman to this offense, not having to lean too much on one side of it, I think has really been important. They've been very balanced. They do need to run the ball. And I feel like if they can't run the ball effectively, that's a problem. I don't want to put this all on Sam Hartman. I think if Ohio State can force that kind of game, if they can beat out the bully ball that Notre Dame clearly wants to play, then that puts them in an advantageous spot. But I do think that Notre Dame is at least patient in their game plan. If it's not working early, and it probably won't, perhaps we see something like what you described on the NC State side, where it's not working. They come out of the delay. Audric Estime goes on a long touchdown run, and suddenly it breaks the whole thing open. There's a pinata moment. Now the passing game is open. Now the running game is open. The whole thing just sort of evaporated right before NC State's eyes. I'm hoping, as a Notre Dame fan, that it sort of goes in that direction. If Notre Dame tries the running game early, if it doesn't work, if they can get the big run, then hopefully that opens up things for the rest of the way. My biggest concern, other than the running game for Notre Dame, is whether or not they can get pressure on Kyle McCord. As you said, first big road start. Kyle McCord, and just the way this offense is constructed, they're going to try to do a lot of quick stuff. They want to get the ball out to Emeka Egbuka. They want to get the ball out to Marvin Harrison as quickly as they can. Start with some high percentage stuff, see where the game goes from there. But I think that's where they're going to begin their festivities in South Bend. It's with the quick stuff. Yeah. And after they get past that, if Notre Dame can't pressure Kyle McCord after he has a little bit of confidence with the high percentage throws under his belt, that also spells problems for Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame's secondary is good enough to hang to some extent with these receivers, but not all day.
Okay.
Not all day. So they need to find a way to bring pressure. They need to find a way to change his rhythm and get him out of, I don't know, whatever confidence they can build early. And, to your point about the Notre Dame pass rush, I probably mischaracterized it a little bit. It has been very good for the most part. I want to see if they can get home. Their sack rates have been below average nationally. I think this is close. I think it's an awesome game. I think it features a little bit of everything, really on both sides, everything that both teams are good at. I think the difference is going to be the Notre Dame passing game. And quietly in ability.
Are you worried, though? Are you worried if I may?
I'm worried. Sure, I'm worried.
The mismatch to me is the combination of receivers rising to the occasion. We know who it is for Ohio State. We still don't have that concept on this kind of stage about Notre Dame, and it's Jared Parker, excuse me. Jared Parker against Jim Knowles. And I'm pointing in that super spike V-ball. You remember that super spike volleyball game with the judge? And I'm pointing to Jim Knowles there. I'm pointing to Jim Knowles and talent there, where I was like, this is where Notre Dame doesn't stack up. And we've seen it too many times in these kind of moments where you just oh, this guy's different, right? And Notre Dame doesn't have that guy where you say, yeah, this guy's different. At least it seems that way to me right now. Yeah,
and I think that maybe we are starting to figure out who those guys are. And you kind of took the words out of my mouth. I think Notre Dame's quiet ability to get vertical with some of the names that we don't know yet is ultimately the difference here. Because we've seen on occasion Jaden Greathouse become a favorite target of Sam Hartman, newcomer. We've seen Tobias Merriweather, very lightly used Tobias Merriweather, got in on the action and proved last year in very limited action. And this year again has shown that he wants to get vertical. I think those are the guys that can be difference makers. We just haven't seen a whole lot out of them yet. That's my take. Yeah. I've got Notre Dame outright. I've got up Notre Dame 31-30.
I'm totally questioning it the way the combination of Jim Knowles and Sam Hartman having the quarter and a half of 3 picks was oh God, is it this week? I'm sticking with Notre Dame.
A little too much steam on Notre Dame. Not just you and I. 72% of the people watching live. My hunch is that the public's going to back Notre Dame as well, just because it's a fun play at home.
Yeah, I'm going Irish, and I'm sticking with